Hi, everybody. Let me first thank the Weaver family for hosting us. We had a great tour. Just came from a good conversation with a number of the growers in this part of the state of Ohio. I want to thank Secretary Rollins for coming out here. It's a big day when the Secretary of Agriculture comes to Ohio. This is a great agriculture state, and we're just very appreciative that she would take the time to come. A number of weeks ago, Director Baldridge and I were in Washington, and this was right when this all was going on. And we met with the Secretary and explained to her what was going on and asked her at that time to come to Ohio and see things for herself. My experience has been that there's no way to really understand a problem than if you go out and talk to the people who are dealing with it every day. So again, Madam Secretary, we are very grateful that you're here, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Governor. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Brooke Rollins, so glad to be here in your amazing state. We just finished an incredible roundtable with 10 to 12 egg producers, chicken farmers here in Ohio at the incredible Weaver Farm facility. Really grateful for that. Your great Director of Agriculture and your Governor. Listen, there's no doubt, especially here in Ohio, that agriculture is the key industry. What this state represents to the rest of the country, especially in terms of corn, soy, and eggs, is really important. At the U.S. Department of Agriculture, obviously, we are fighting every day for our producers, for our farmers, and for our ranchers, as we know that food security is national security. And on behalf of President Trump and our entire cabinet, we will continue to work all day, every day, to bring real prosperity back to all parts of America, but especially from my perspective to rural America and to our farmers and our ranchers and our producers. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions, and we'd be happy to take any. Glad to be here in Ohio. Yes, ma'am.
Secretary, with one of the questions on the topic of bird flu you could address, there's been quite a few staff that have left APHIS veterinarian services. Can you talk about whether that's going to have any impact on farmers experiencing disruptions for animal testing with crop situations in bird flu? And what's your plan to be able to overcome those staffing cuts?
Yeah, talking about staffing cuts, obviously not surprising to anyone. Our cabinet and our administration is intensely focused on realigning a government that best serves the people, looking under the hood around every corner for cost savings, ensuring that a government that has gotten way too big, at least in President Trump's vision, and I believe in the 77 million people that voted for President Trump in November, including every swing state, including the great state of Ohio, and also with the popular vote, that the people have asked for real reform and real change in the government. And that is what we're working every day to do, whether it's at the U.S. Department of Agriculture or across the cabinet. Our 5th cabinet meeting, by the way, in just over 2 months is on Wednesday in Washington, as we're all working arm in arm. It's a really important question that was asked about how this could potentially affect the key and most urgent parts of the United States Department of Agriculture. And here in Ohio, there's no doubt that our APHIS department, which studies and works with all of the animal disease outbreaks in this country, of course here in Ohio with avian bird flu, which has been absolutely devastating to our egg farmers in this state. It was really important to me, as Governor DeWine said, to come and to hear firsthand. I mean, these are farmers, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th generation egg farmers that have had to depopulate millions upon millions of their egg layers. And that doesn't just, you can't fix that overnight. That's going to be years and years to get that back. So we are very focused on ensuring that the front line of U.S. Department of Agriculture, whether it's APHIS, whether it's FSA, whether it's our rural development piece, whatever it is, that those positions are not riffed, that they're not part of the reduction in force. If there is any consequence of the early retirements, etc., we are working overtime to ensure that we've got the right people in the right place to ensure that we're able to serve our farmers and our ranchers every single day. And as it relates to this meeting today, especially our egg farmers, especially as it relates to avian bird flu. So thank you. Next question.
When are egg prices coming down? I know it's a lot of factors went into it, but it's on the top of mind for a lot of Ohio.
absolutely. So on February, in mid to late February, we released the 5-point plan. That plan included biosecurity, a $1 billion plan, by the way, biosecurity measures, repopulation efforts, of course, which included higher indemnification for our egg layers and our egg farmers, a deregulation effort regarding line speed and some other things. I'm moving into a few little ag terms that may not be relevant to everybody, but that's important. Number 4, for the short term and directly to your question, was the importation of eggs. We had immediate agreements reached with Turkey and South Korea and a few other countries to get some, again, for the short term while our egg farmers here repopulate. And then finally, the vaccine and therapeutic, significant funding there. Almost immediately, we saw the wholesale price of eggs come down, and in about 4 weeks, the wholesale price has come down 56%. Those numbers are undisputed. What you're hearing and what a lot of the mainstream media is talking about are the retail prices, and those often come after the wholesale prices come down. There are big parts and swaths of the country. In my Texas, retail prices are way down. Interestingly, in Washington, D.C. and parts of Virginia, they're way down. So depending on what part of the country you are from, the retail prices have followed. But overall, the average prices have come down for wholesale eggs between 56 and 58% in the last 4 to 6 weeks. Next question. Yes, sir.
What kind of assurances were you able to give the producers here? I mean, we lost over 14 million birds in 2 counties.
Right.
What kind of assurances were you able to give the producers you met with?
Well, these producers hopefully know we have moved very, very quickly. Again, I'm not here to talk politics, and I'm not here to disparage the prior administration, but this avian bird flu has been decimating our egg producers for almost 2 years now. When it first popped its head, it was about 10 years ago in 2014, and it was a very quick, couple months. I know some of the producers were hard hit, probably some of the producers that are here, but nothing happened again until 2 years ago when it has ravaged our egg producers. We have memos at USDA from the former administration and the former Secretary of Agriculture under Joe Biden that realized it was a big problem, but really no massive effort to get their arms around it. We rolled out within 2 weeks of me being sworn in a pretty significant plan, one of the most significant certainly across the USDA history. So my hope is that was a massive signal to our farmers and our ranchers that we are realigning the U.S. Department of Agriculture, not around, diversity, equity, and inclusion, not around sending grants to San Francisco for transgender and queer farmers, not around studying the menstrual cycles of transgender mice, but instead around our farmers and our ranchers. And that's some of the money that we did realign to move into that $1 billion plan to help our producers. Any questions? Yes. Yeah, talking about, just so everyone can hear that, talking about the potential of using eggs from other sources such as broilers. And yes, we are in conversations about that, and will continue to be so as the repopulation takes place.
Are you seeing other states act like Ohio has?
Well, let me say this. Governor DeWine may know those numbers better than I, so I'll let him have the microphone, but there is no doubt that this state has been impacted, if not the most, in the top 1, 2, or 3. That's why I wanted to get here as soon as I could. And in all of the other states that I've visited up until this point, which have also been impacted, from Iowa to Georgia to other states, and I don't ever want to say that, it's not as big a deal there, but there is no doubt where we stand today in this county and the adjacent county and in these producers that I just met with for the last hour and a half, that there's no part of America that has been more ravaged with the avian bird flu than where we stand right now. And so that's why we're here. Hopefully I'll be able to get back here sooner rather than later, but we'll stay in constant touch with the governor, with your ag director, and with these farmers to ensure that we can get this back. I don't know if you want to talk about that. No, Governor. Oh, all good?
You good?
All right. Yes, sir.
They got more questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it hasn't hit it really as serious here in Ohio as it is in our border states, but the screwworm is making its way up Mexico through our cattle industry. I sent a very strongly worded letter to my counterpart in Mexico. We do that in the Trump administration. We send very strongly worded messages. But in fact, before I walked in to this incredible facility I was on the phone with my counterpart in Mexico, the Secretary of Agriculture there, talking about the screwworm, talking about how to solve for the issues that were in that letter. Specifically, the United States Department of Agriculture has the solution for the screwworm as it makes its way up and through Mexico, but we couldn't land our planes that has the sterile flies in the planes that will solve for that. So again, probably a little out of context here in egg-laying, soy, and corn country, but I appreciate that, and I think it's an important point that we will fight every minute of every day for American farmers and ranchers and to put Americans first. There is no doubt about that. Even if you disagree with our policies, even if you didn't vote for President Trump, it can't be lost on anyone in this country that every minute that we are fighting for every American, and for me, that's for our farmers and our ranchers. So we came to an agreement with Mexico on that issue. More will be released on that in the next few hours. You'll see that. But it came to a good resolution. So thank you. One more question? Yes, ma'am. You know, everywhere I go, the question is, what am I most impressed with here in Ohio? And the heart of these people and the heart of this industry, and I talked about this a little bit inside too. I think what a lot of people don't realize is that these egg producers and these egg farmers, but they're reflective of the larger agriculture industry, from the big family farms to those that may just have, you know, let's say dairy, a couple hundred cows, or may just farm 50 acres of wheat, that so much of this is multi-generational, that the egg farmers we were talking to today, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth generation farmers, and their legitimate question in their heart is this going to be a viable way for the sixth generation or seventh generation of their families to make a living? And my response is, there's no alternative. We have to make it viable, and we have to make it so that there's prosperity there, and they want their next generations, their grandchildren and their grandchildren's children, to be in this industry and in this effort, because if we don't have food security in America, if we don't support these farmers and make it so that their kids and their grandkids have the opportunity to continue running incredible businesses like this one, then we will lose our country. These efforts are the backbone of America, and if we don't continue to make them viable, and the great work of our ag director, and we've got a state representative here and a state senator, and it's an all of the above approach, I believe we will get there. I think that with tax cuts and deregulation and less spending and focusing on our farmers and ranchers, which is all part of President Trump's vision, that we will get there. And in 4 years, when hopefully I walk out, hopefully there for 4 years, but when I walk out, we will see a new era of prosperity, not just for all of America, but for rural America, and specifically in our agriculture community, because when that happens, all of us prosper and all of us succeed. All right, everybody, what a joy to be here. God bless America, and God bless the great people of Ohio. Thank you all so much. To do what? Oh, we'll talk about that later. I like it though. I'm a 4-H and an FFA'er, so my heart is there. All right, everybody, thank you so much.